my name is Erica, and today, as you can see, I have a different setting because I did something pretty exciting last week, is that I moved into my very own studio, which is why I have not posted any videos. I have like 3 videos I need to edit and upload that were supposed to be made for October, and yet here I am, finally filming my wrap-up. But I had a lot of stuff going on, and obviously this is a big thing that happened. So I'm going to kind of give you a little bit of a life update, why I moved, and then do my October wrap up. And I don't know if I have November TBR, we'll see, because I don't really know what I want to read yet. Anyway, let's just get right into it. Okay, so I moved into my own studio last Sunday, so it's officially been a week I've been living here by myself, and I love it so much. I'm a little stressed out about money and stuff because life, you know. But I'm really happy I did it though. I have no regrets right now about it. I'm so happy. It's been the best week ever. I don't even know if I've ever really talked much about it, but I had a roommate when I first moved here. I've been living with her. I had been living with her for like 2.5 years. So there's been a lot of changes recently, and I just felt like I needed more stability because we were kind of up in the air. My roommate and her parents were kind of deciding if they wanted to sell our apartment. So at the beginning of October, she texted me these long messages saying that we were selling the apartment, and I broke down because I hate change. I hate moving. I don't do well with it, I guess. Every time I've had to move, my mom has always been there, and I just always have a really hard time with it, adjusting, I guess. I decided that if I have to move across the street with her into another apartment, I might as well just kind of start looking for something of my own, because I'm kind of tired of having roommates. I just have had them my whole life, so I was like, I'll look for studios, but I knew right now it's kind of a weird time. I started looking at a couple studios, and the first one I went to was terrible. It was kind of sketchy, and the landlord was really rude, and it was not a good experience. I was like, okay, whatever. We started talking to this girl who was gonna move in with me, and I was pretty excited, so I guess it didn't work out. She ended up finding something else, so then I was back to square one, and then I looked at another studio. This studio, I actually had walked in. Oh, I hear a plane coming, hold on. So this studio I went to see early before work one day, and I immediately walked in and felt like I was at home. It was just one of the best feelings. So I came in and I was like, okay, this is a really good one. I looked at a few others in the building, and then one across the street or a few blocks down, and I decided I would apply for it, and I somehow got it because my income was kind of low, and I don't have a co-signer and all this. So I was like, okay, if it's not meant to be, it's not meant to be, because my roommate's parents decided they weren't going to sell the apartment. So I was like, okay, I'll have something to, lean back on if I don't get this. So I'm like, maybe it's not meant to be. I'm all about fate, and whatever happens, happens, and that's what it's meant for. So I was like, okay, if it doesn't happen, that's fine. But I got it, and literally 2 weeks later, saw it on Tuesday, signed the lease on that Saturday, moved the following Sunday. So it happened really quick, and my friends are literally the best. My best friend Bree and Kelly's boyfriend, they came over to my apartment, they loaded up a huge van, and it took an hour to load, an hour to unload. We got it all out, it was great. But yeah, that was basically the best moving experience I've had. I mean, I felt like I was getting really sad because my mom wasn't there. I had a break, I broke down on the phone with her one day. It was just ugh, it was a weird moment. But anyway, I'm here now, it's been a week, and it's the best. I love living alone. Okay, that's enough for the life update. Now let's get into my October wrap up, because I read actually a lot of books for October, and I'm pretty proud of myself for that. Okay, so my October TBR was kind of a lot for me. It's not a lot for a lot of other people because y'all read so much, and I'm over here trying to finish 1 book a week. I challenged myself to read at least I wanted to read 4 books, but my TBR before was, I felt like I was gonna try to do a lot. But I'm really happy with what I read, and it was all Halloween themed or spooky books. The first book I read was actually on my Kindle. That was The Hunting Party by Lucy Foley. I feel like I read that so long ago now because I finished it right at the beginning of October. The Hunting Party follows a group of friends who reunite every year on New Year's Eve, and they are currently in their 30s, I guess. Yeah, they're pretty old, not old, but they're a group of adults. Okay, so, and they stay at this really fancy lodge, I guess, and they're supposed to be the only ones there. It turns out there's another couple there that's hanging out, but they're not supposed to bother them. It's weird. So the building is set up so it's they all have one big meeting area and then their own separate cabins. 2 people that stay in the area are kind of weird, not weird, but they each have a bit of a checkered past. And then we have the main group of characters who are very interesting. There's a lot of history with these friends. They've obviously been friends for all these years, and some of them are a little newer to the friend group. Most of them met together in college, some of them grew up together. It's just really, it varies, but they all have a very mixed relationships with one another. So when they come back together, they kind of fall into their old roles once more, as they always do, but there's a lot of differences now. There's a lot of growth between the characters and just a lot of distance, but they kind of try to fall back into their roles that they've always had. The book goes back and forth between like present and then when they first get to the lodge. So it goes back and forth because they find a dead body, and you obviously don't know who it is until you're reading and you kind of get all the pieces to find out who killed who. So it's definitely like a mystery or like thriller, definitely more of a thriller, I guess, because you're kind of putting together all these pieces on who killed the person and why and what the history was between them. And there's just a lot of anger and drama between these characters. It reminded me a lot of Until Dawn, which is a video game that I've talked about. And there are a lot of twists and turns in this story that I was not expecting. I did give it, I think, 4 out of 5 stars. I was actually really impressed with this book. I was really happy with it. I thought it was perfect to start spooky season. I went in with not super high expectations because I know I can be easily disappointed, especially because it was your basic thriller. I mean, these characters are reuniting after all these years, someone ends up dead, you know, all of that. But I really liked the storyline. I really liked the different characters. Some of them were very annoying, but I also enjoyed the relationships between them because there's a lot of tension and anger that's been pent up over the years, but they have to kind of suppress that and hide it. There's a lot of shocking moments and things I was not expecting, which I was also very happy about. I didn't want to like be able to figure it out that fast. Before I got too far into the story, I kind of had a feeling who was going to end up dead and like why and all of that, but overall it was a really good book, perfect for spooky season. I highly recommend it if you're looking for an adult thriller, and I just really enjoyed it. I loved the tensions between them and just like the storyline and where it went, and it wasn't that easy to call like everything that was going to happen, but I don't know, overall it was really good and I really enjoyed it. The next book that I finished for spooky season was Slasher Girls and Monster Boys. This is an anthology. It's a bind up of a bunch of different YA scary stories. I think it's YA. It might actually be adult. I think it might be adult because it was a little more, I don't want to say gruesome, but it was there's a lot of adult themes in it, and I really enjoyed this bind up. I was not expecting to like a lot of the stories, but I did appreciate them. A lot of them were very spooky, a lot of weird ones, and there are a lot of really good authors in it that it worked really well together, and I really liked that the concept was based off of other scary stories or just other stories in general. So they basically take stories that you know and then twist them into their own like spooky way. So some of it was a little messed up, but overall I really liked the concept of it, and I loved the scary stories and the horror, and it was, like I said, a lot of adult themes in there, so I would probably recommend being a little older if you read it. But overall that one was really good. Also another one for spooky season. I think I gave that one 3 to 5 stars because like overall it's good, but some of the stories I liked better than others. And then I also read Scary Stories to Tell in the Dark. I was very disappointed in this, actually. I love the movie so much. The movie is so creepy and so weird and so messed up. And I know that this is more of a children's book, so obviously it can't be that intense. But I guess I was expecting to be more scared. I heard there are other editions of this book that are like hit or miss. I'm not really sure. I guess there's like other parts. But I was not a fan of this because I was very bored, and I don't scare easily though when reading, but I've always heard that even adults that read it, they're like, this is super scary, like it's terrifying, and I did not feel that while I was reading it. The images though are really good. Like that one's really creepy to me. I don't know, I guess you have to be in the right mood to read it because I was like, look at that one. I just was kind of bored, and I like being scared, and I just feel like I wasn't scared while reading it, so that was kind of disappointing. But I mean, it's good for Halloween if you like scary stuff, of course. The next book I finished is another novella bind up, basically. It's an anthology of more little scary stories. All the stories are written by women, and it focuses on like witches in some aspect. A lot of the stories I did not actually like, which I was kind of disappointed about. But overall, I did enjoy this. I really love that a lot of the stories are very sapphic and very cute. I like the diversity in this story, and I love that it had sapphic romance. Yeah, I mean, I don't really have much to say about this one. It was also really good. And overall, I think I gave it, again, like 3 out of 5 stars because some of the stories were good. Other ones I felt really bored with. But overall, this is the perfect one for spooky season because obviously it's called Toil and Trouble. And it's just, I love the cover of it a lot. I have the library versions because poor, but yeah, so So this is another good one for spooky season. I'm happy I finally picked it up for this Halloween because I meant to do it last year, but I never got around to doing it, so I'm glad I got to it this time. Okay, and then the next book that I finished for spooky season was The Witch of Willow Hall. This book I went in with no expectations, and I was pleasantly surprised with how much I liked it. This book takes place in 1821 after years when all the Salem witch trials have happened, and supposedly there is one witch left, and that is the girl named Lydia. She's our main character in this book. Her and her family have moved to this new area called New Oldbury because there's been a huge scandal in their family, so they have to move, kind of put down new roots, start over with their lives, because the sister is just a lot, honestly. This story follows Lydia, who is supposedly a witch. She has no idea, but her family kind of has an inkling, but they've always kept that a secret from her. But a lot of weird things have happened, so we follow her and her older sister and their younger sister as they come into this new house called Willow Hall. I'm trying to start over again because Catherine, the older sister, had a big scandal against her, and I don't want to spoil what it is because I was shocked. My jaw went as I was reading it. Like, I was just sitting there and I was just like, what? Because it was not what I was not expecting what the scandal was in my head. I thought it was going to be something else anyway. A lot of weird things start happening, a lot of anger that just kind of appears. There's just a lot of creepy things in the area. They're pretty secluded. They don't have a lot of other people around them except for one other family. We have Mr. Barrett, who is the love interest. Lydia is trying to win him over, but she's doing it in a more subtle way because she actually really has feelings for him. Catherine, the older sister, has other motives between Mr. Barrett and Mr. Pierce, who is another gentleman in the book. There's a lot of sad things start happening to these characters, and they don't really know what is going on, but Lydia is able to start talking to these ghosts that reside in the house, and it kind of freaks her out, but also it's kind of helping her realize who she is and what is going on for their family and why everything is happening. Overall, I love this book. I actually really enjoyed it. I think I gave it 4 out of 5 stars, or maybe 3 because it wasn't like that good, but it was pretty good. I like the character of Lydia. I loved the drama, the scandal in the family, because it was bad, but like also it just added a lot to the storyline and to the stakes, and like the stakes felt really high in this book. I just loved it a lot, and I liked that there were ghosts. Learning about Lydia, how she discovers her powers and she can start using them, and also how she grew up having these powers, not realizing it, and had some pretty terrible things happen to her. I did really like this book. I really like the concept of it, and I love the drama, and I just liked the romance in it. It was very subtle, very cute, but it was also kind of like, y'all just admit your feelings for each other, like, come on. But overall, yeah, I did really enjoy this book. Also perfect for spooky season since we have witches and ghosts. But yeah, I really love this book and highly recommend. Okay, the last book that I actually finished in November, but I'm counting it as October because I started in October, and that is The Once and Future Witches by Alex E. Harrow. This book, I heard amazing things about it. I really enjoyed this book. I gave it 3 out of 5 stars. It was not as good as I was anticipating it. This book takes place in 1893 in Salem, and it's considered New Salem, not Old Salem. So we follow 3 sisters, Juniper, Agnes, and Beatrice, as they reunite after all these years of not seeing each other. There's this like magic force that brings them together, and they are witches. They decide that they want to start joining the suffragists. They want to start bringing about magic back to New Salem. There's a lot of drama also in this book, but the characters come together and they want to start a new group that will allow them to start convincing women to use their magic and to take over. There is a man who's trying to be mayor who is trying to get rid of witches and magic, and he is very abusive to the people and the women, and he secretly also has magic, and I don't know if that's a spoiler, but he's been using it against everybody, which is pretty intense. So they join together and they try to create this movement that will allow women to be more free and to be able to use their powers, because magic is a huge thing to them and it's basically everything they grew up with. But after all these years, they haven't seen each other, and then they finally reunite, and it's kind of sad. Like, there's a lot of sad things that happen in this book, but also some cute romance. We have a sapphic romance in there, beautiful, and this very feminist, which I appreciated. The only thing I did not like is that, like, the pacing, I felt like it got really boring at times. Like, I just felt like it was dragging, and I felt very disinterested in the characters and what was happening. Like, I felt like the stakes, even though they seem like they're high, to me they didn't feel that high, and I just felt like there's always a way they were going to get out of something. But overall, I did enjoy this book. Like I said, even though I wasn't that into it, it was written so beautifully. Like, I loved the dialogue, and I just loved the way it was written. It was just so pretty, and like, I don't even know how to explain it. It's just written really well, and I love the visualizations and just the descriptions and everything. Like, everything was written so clearly, and I really appreciated that. But overall, like, I mean, I just felt bored and I didn't feel that interested in the characters, which makes me sad because this is a really amazing book and I really did enjoy it. But overall, I just kind of felt like I was left needing more from it, and I wasn't that into the characters and their story, and at the beginning I felt really excited and interested in it, but as it kept going I kind of got bored and I just kind of sat there reading the words, not really seeing everything that was happening. So I feel kind of bad, and maybe I'll give it another chance if there is another book in the future. I'm not really sure. I really like that it felt very historical and it felt like this had actually happened. I mean, maybe it did, but overall this book just wasn't quite what I was expecting, but I did really like the sapphic romance and just the story like concept I thought was really cool, and how dark it was. It did remind me a lot of Three Dark Crowns by Kendra Blake, which I really liked. I love the cover of this book so much. It's so pretty, and I love the bird. I love it. I love how pretty it is. Also, during spooky season, I did start reading It. I wanted to make sure I got to the other books that I had. I'm still currently reading it. I'm like 650 pages in. My goal for November is definitely to finish this. I kind of hope to finish it within this week if I actually like focus on there, because I have so much I want to read. I am actually really enjoying it though. I like the movies a lot. Once I finish it, I'm going to rewatch the first and second movies and just try to have a little movie marathon. But yeah, I am enjoying this a lot. I'm happy I'm finally reading it. But I am disappointed that I didn't finish it for spooky season, but I did read a lot of other books, so that's okay. Also, the only other books I can think of right now for November are rereading Six of Crows and Crooked Kingdom. I'm also hoping to get to a couple other books, but I'm not really sure what those will be yet. I need to get to the library. Alright, that is everything that I read in October, and I'm not sure yet what I want to read for November, but that is all I have for you today. If you like this video, be sure to give it a nice little thumbs up. If you want to keep following me on this booktube journey, please subscribe to my channel. You can follow me on Twitter and Instagram at ErikaAGobble. Thank you guys so much for watching. I'll see you soon with another video. Bye!